Here's the truth no one tells you. The moment he truly loves you, his actions will reveal it in ways you've probably overlooked, and missing them could cost you a lifetime of happiness. You're about to discover the subtle signs that prove a man's love isn't just words. It's a deep, authentic feeling that goes beyond attraction. Notice how he shows up for you, not just when it's easy, but when life gets messy. Real love isn't flashy gestures or grand declarations. It's the quiet moments, the consistent efforts, the little things that make your heart feel safe and seen. He listens, he remembers, he prioritizes you without being asked, and he celebrates your joy as if it were his own. That's not infatuation. That's love rooted in respect, admiration, and an authentic desire to see you thrive. If you've noticed any of these signs in your relationship, pause and reflect. Are you valuing them? Hit like if this resonates, and subscribe to learn more about decoding love so you can recognize authentic connections before it's too late. When a man feels genuine love, something inside him starts to change. It's an awakening that touches both his aware and hidden sides. Love stops being just an emotion and becomes a reflection of his inner self. It's no longer only about being drawn to another person. It becomes a mirror showing the balance or chaos within his own soul. When he meets someone who connects deeply with his inner truth, the line between his inner and outer worlds begins to fade. It feels like an old forgotten song begins to play again, one that reminds him of who he truly is beneath all the noise of daily life and ego. He feels open yet whole, fragile yet powerful at the same time. And this bond isn't about two people completing each other. It's about recognizing yourself in someone else. He feels a strange sense of familiarity, not because of shared experiences, but because something in this connection reflects the unseen parts of who he is. Such love pulls him into a journey of self-understanding. He starts to notice the quiet rhythm between his emotions and his reality. Every feeling carries a meaning. They are signs of communication between his conscious thoughts and the deeper forces shaping him. When he loves truly, he doesn't lose himself in the other person, as people often do when they're driven by desire or fear of being alone. Instead, he finds a clearer version of himself through this connection. It becomes a sacred mirror showing both his light and shadow. Every bit of affection, disagreement, or peace turns into a lesson of self-awareness. He learns that real love isn't about running from reality, but embracing it with truth. In true love, he isn't moved by surface attraction or fantasy. His care flows from deep understanding, knowing that love at its purest is an act of honesty. This truth doesn't ask for perfection, it accepts wholeness. It knows that love can be both gentle and fierce, both healing and revealing. He realizes that to love sincerely means standing open before someone, showing his heart without masks or games. In that openness, he finds strength, because love born from honesty cannot be broken by fear or pride. It doesn't depend on situations. It's born from two souls recognizing each other beyond looks or roles. As he grows through this feeling, he becomes aware of how much love transforms him. His inner world aligns with something greater than himself. He stops searching for approval or victory. What he wants is connection through truth. The woman he loves becomes a reflection of his personal growth, his evolution. He doesn't love her to avoid loneliness, but because her presence connects to his deepest need for balance, unity, and meaning. In her, he sees the expression of his inner harmony, a living symbol of what his soul wants to show the world. That's why when a man feels real love, his energy softens, his focus deepens, and his actions grow calm and certain. He no longer feels restless, because the search for something outside shifts into understanding himself from within. True love becomes a kind of spiritual alignment rather than something to own. It teaches him that to love honestly is to face life without filters. It pulls him closer to truth, asking that he be both brave and humble. Through love, he learns that the deepest bond he can have with someone starts from within. It's the joining of his inner and outer realities, a balance of emotion and awareness, passion and peace. Love, in its pure form, becomes not a wish to possess, but a gentle call to awaken. When a man feels genuine love, he begins to see that real strength isn't about hiding emotion, but about allowing himself to feel fully and truthfully. Vulnerability becomes the bridge between his heart and his soul, between who he seems to be and who he truly is inside. In a world that often tells men to hide their feelings, to always appear strong no matter the pain, true love softly removes that armor. It invites him to let his guard down, to show the parts of himself he once buried, and to trust that he won't be shamed for doing so. This process is both frightening and freeing. It asks him to let go of control, to release the illusion of being unbreakable, and to face his fears of rejection, failure, and loss. But in doing that, he finds a deeper courage, the courage to be real. When he opens his heart, he begins to uncover the layers of his humanity he once hid behind silence or pride. He lets his partner see his doubts, his fears, and even his unspoken pain. This openness becomes something sacred, a quiet message that says he trusts her enough to show his unguarded side. In those moments, his words carry a rare honesty, not to impress, but to connect. He admits when he's scared, he shares when he's hurt, and he expresses gratitude when he feels understood. There's a calm strength in that truth, one greater than any form of control or power. For the first time, he understands that being open doesn't make him weak, it makes him human, and that humanity is the real foundation of all deep love. Through openness, his idea of closeness changes. He no longer sees intimacy as a danger, but as a place of safety. The walls he once built to protect himself begin to fade, not because love blinds him, but because it gives him courage. He starts seeing beauty in being emotionally open. He listens with kindness instead of defense. He speaks with real attention instead of performance. And he feels deeply without running away from his emotions. His emotional world grows wider, more real, and more alive. In that space, his partner no longer feels like someone who threatens his freedom, but someone walking beside him in his emotional journey. The more open he becomes, the deeper their bond grows, because love can only live where truth exists without fear. This transformation is not easy. There are moments when his old habits return, when he feels the need to retreat or protect himself from the pain of being honest. But each time he chooses openness over silence, he becomes stronger. The act of being emotionally honest becomes a quiet rebellion against false ideas of manhood that once limited him. He learns that vulnerability isn't losing power, it's losing pretense. It's where love turns sacred, where two souls meet without ego or fear standing between them. As he embraces this depth, love no longer feels like a game of control or pride. It becomes a place of mutual healing. Through his openness, he gives his partner the courage to open too, creating a bond built on truth, not illusion. In this kind of love, both grow together, not because they are perfect, but because they are real. And that, more than anything, is what makes love eternal. He begins to realize that true closeness is not born from perfection, but from shared honesty. When a man feels real love, his greatest strength isn't shown by how much he can handle alone, but by how deeply he can connect while staying true to who he is. His heart becomes open, yet guarded by the purity of his intentions, and within that balance, he finds the deep peace that only genuine love can bring. When a man experiences true love, his understanding of connection shifts from owning to expanding. He no longer wishes to control or possess the one he loves. Instead, he wants to grow beside her. Love becomes a journey of shared awakening rather than a chase for validation or victory. It is not about holding someone tightly out of fear of losing them, but about giving them the freedom to be fully themselves while still choosing to stay. In this kind of love, his feelings are not driven by insecurity or control, but by respect and admiration. He values her individuality as something sacred, understanding that her independence is not a threat to him, but a reflection of her own strength. He wants to discover her world, not limit it. His heart expands as he realizes that love cannot thrive through ownership. It grows through evolution. When he loves with sincerity, he views the relationship as a space where both souls can rise together. He doesn't try to shape her into his idea of perfection because he has learned to love without conditions. Every shared moment becomes a chance to understand more deeply, to grow and to awaken. His love evolves from attachment into awareness. He starts to notice the beauty in small things, the quiet gestures, the honest talks, the understanding that sometimes space helps love breathe. He learns to value balance, knowing that true love lives in harmony, not in control. Through her presence, he learns patience, understanding that love must be allowed to flow freely to stay alive. Such a man does not mistake control for care. He doesn't see her freedom as a danger, but as part of love's grace. His goal is not to tie her down, but to walk beside her as an equal, allowing both their spirits to unfold naturally. When she thrives, he feels joy instead of envy. When she changes, he seeks to understand instead of resist. His love is not based on her meeting his expectations, but on appreciating her true self. He understands that love is not a prison for the soul, but a mirror that reflects one's depth. By supporting her freedom, he stays true to his own integrity. Real love, he learns, is built on mutual respect. This understanding also transforms how he views himself. He begins to see that genuine connection requires emotional growth and awareness. The more he matures within, the more capable he becomes of giving freely without fear and receiving love without guilt. He realizes that love is not meant to fill an emptiness, but to share the fullness of the heart. His affection flows easily because it's not mixed with ego or control. He finds peace in watching her shine, knowing her light does not take away from his own. Their bond becomes a dance between two whole individuals who choose each other not out of need, but from shared purpose. In this place of emotional growth, love becomes a source of elevation. Both partners inspire each other to rise above fear, doubt, and limitation. They become mirrors for one another, reflecting not only beauty, but also lessons of the soul. He learns that love isn't about having power over someone, but about holding hands and walking together through uncertainty. His care becomes soft yet steady. His passion remains strong but calm. His loyalty is shown through freedom, not control. This is the kind of love that changes not just relationships, but the very core of who he is. He understands that the purpose of love isn't to possess another's heart, but to expand his own. Through her presence, he awakens to the truth that real love is about growth, balance, and the shared evolution of two souls moving together in truth. When a man feels genuine love, he experiences a silent recognition that goes beyond logic, time, or appearance. It is as if his soul remembers something his mind cannot fully explain. When he looks into the eyes of the woman he loves, there's a stillness, a deep and sacred knowing that he has met someone who mirrors the essence of his being. This recognition isn't based on thought or analysis. It comes from an inner knowing, an intuitive sense that this connection is something rare and timeless. He feels peace in her presence, a calm that speaks louder than excitement or desire. It's not the thrill of infatuation or the confusion of obsession, but a deep feeling of belonging, as though his heart has finally found rest without pretending to be something else. In that quiet moment, he senses a deep familiarity, as if their souls have met before, beyond memory or form. This recognition can't be explained to others. It isn't about looks, titles, or logic. It's a spiritual connection that can only be felt. He doesn't need constant reminders or proof because the bond itself feels undeniable. There seems to be an invisible thread tying their energies together, a natural pull that draws him close, not out of need but harmony. He feels that she understands him, even in silence, that her presence alone brings him peace and clarity. When she speaks, her words often reflect the thoughts he hasn't yet said aloud. When she is silent, that silence feels complete, not empty. It's as if their communication moves beyond words, operating on the level of energy and intuition. He feels seen, not for what he shows the world, but for who he truly is beneath it. This kind of connection awakens in him a quiet sense of devotion. He becomes more thoughtful, more aware, and more emotionally open. He no longer needs to chase, prove, or perform. Instead, he nurtures the bond through quiet consistency and genuine care. It's not about grand gestures, but about presence. The way he listens, the way he protects her peace, the way he shows up even without being asked. Every action becomes a reflection of a truth too deep for words. When he holds her, it's not just physical, it's spiritual alignment. He feels as if he's holding a part of his own soul, something to honor and protect. But this recognition doesn't just comfort him, it also challenges him. Real love mirrors not only light, but also shadow. It shows him both what he admires and what he needs to face within himself. Her presence touches the depths of his being, stirring both his tenderness and his fears. Yet he doesn't run from it, because deep down he knows that this connection was meant to awaken him. Through her, he learns to see himself more clearly, to grow, to heal, and to love without losing who he is. The relationship turns into a journey of self-awareness and inner growth, guided less by logic and more by intuition. When he feels this quiet recognition, his love shifts from possession to reverence. He begins to see her as more than just a partner. She becomes a reflection of something higher, a mirror that awakens his truest self. He understands that real love is not something to be found, it is something remembered. It feels destined yet free, intimate yet limitless. It is a bond where words become secondary, because understanding flows naturally between two souls that have finally returned to each other. Through this silent recognition, he experiences love not as a passing feeling, but as a timeless connection between spirits that have always known where they belong. When a man feels genuine love, his inner world begins to transform. Love becomes a force that reshapes the deepest layers of his being, changing how he sees life, himself, and the world. He starts to perceive life differently, guided not only by desire or logic, but by deeper meaning. The woman he loves awakens in him a gentleness that once lay dormant, a compassion that was once protected, and a strength built on understanding rather than pride. In her presence, he feels something sacred stirring, a realization that love is not simply an emotion, but an alchemical process that refines the soul. Through love, he confronts himself. The chaos within, the insecurities he hid, and the fears he avoided all surface, but instead of fleeing, he embraces them, realizing that love's purpose is not comfort, it is awakening. Through this transformation, he sees that love is not a fleeting transaction or momentary thrill. It is a mirror reflecting his own soul. Every joy and every challenge becomes a step toward deeper awareness. When disagreements arise, he no longer tries to win, but to understand. When pain emerges, he does not shut down. He listens to what it reveals about his heart. Love teaches him patience, humility, and acceptance. It softens his ego, reminding him that true connection grows not in control, but in surrender. He starts to value emotional honesty over pride, empathy over dominance, and presence over performance. Each moment with her becomes a chance to practice being more authentic, more open, and more conscious. He learns that love is not about holding someone forever, but about holding each moment with complete sincerity. This transformation stretches beyond the relationship itself. His view of life evolves. Small things take on new meaning: the sound of her laughter, the way sunlight passes through a quiet morning, the peace of being near her. He notices beauty where before he saw only routine. Love awakens him to the subtleties of life, teaching that the essence of existence is not in grand achievements, but in true presence. The world feels less like a competition and more like a network of connections. He becomes aware of how everything interrelates, realizing that love is not only between two people, but a force that flows through life itself. This awareness grounds him in gratitude and stillness. By loving authentically, he also learns the art of letting go, not as abandonment, but as acceptance. He understands that love cannot be forced or controlled. It must be nurtured with trust and faith. He releases the idea that love should always feel perfect, realizing that its true power lies in growth through imperfection. The relationship becomes a living space for both to evolve, to fall and rise, to hurt and heal together. He begins to see love not as something to possess, but as a path toward growth and higher understanding. Every moment, even the painful ones, becomes a teacher guiding him to a higher version of himself. Through this evolution, his love matures from mere emotion into devotion. He becomes calmer, wiser, and more grounded. He no longer fears vulnerability because he has seen that it leads to truth. His affection deepens not through dramatic gestures, but through steady presence and quiet loyalty. He realizes that real love is not something given or received. It is something he becomes by loving her. He grows more human, more compassionate, and more awake. The man who once sought validation from the outside world now finds meaning in simply being true. Love has turned him inward, stripped away illusion, and revealed his essence. In this transformation, he discovers that authentic love is an endless journey toward understanding, balance, and inner peace. When a man experiences true love, he also understands the sacred responsibility it brings. Love becomes more than impulse or fleeting emotion. It is a conscious commitment to protect, nurture, and uplift the one he cherishes without attempting to dominate her. He feels a profound duty, not out of obligation, but out of reverence for their connection. This devotion gives his actions depth. His words carry integrity, his presence offers safety, and his loyalty becomes quiet but unwavering. He no longer moves through life carelessly. Every decision considers how it will affect her peace, her growth, and her spirit. He understands that real love is not about the thrill of beginnings, but the endurance of the soul. It is the steady choice to show up, to provide stability, to remain present in a world of constant change. Love transforms his view of commitment. It becomes not possession or routine, but a sacred promise made by the heart. He learns that love requires effort, patience, and understanding. He shows up in joy and discomfort, passion and silence. He doesn't retreat when challenges arise because his love is not convenience-based. It is grounded in purpose. His loyalty stems from valuing truth, not fearing loss. Through this dedication, he becomes emotionally steady, dependable, and grounded. His actions match his feelings, and his consistency speaks louder than words. His love becomes a source of healing, not confusion, a space of peace, not chaos. He learns balance, the delicate art of giving without losing himself. He does not sacrifice his identity for love, nor expect her to sacrifice hers. He understands that love must honor individuality. He supports her dreams as fiercely as his own, creating a shared space where both can thrive. His love becomes an ecosystem of mutual growth, not dependency, a partnership where each strengthens the other while remaining whole. He comes to understand that real strength in love isn't about control, it's about stability. It's the strength to be gentle when anger tempts him, to listen when pride wants to argue, and to stay kind even when the world feels unkind. His love evolves from passion to purpose, from desire to depth. This authenticity reshapes his idea of masculinity. He no longer feels the need to prove his worth through dominance or material success. Instead, he finds meaning in his ability to love deeply, protect sincerely, and act with integrity. His emotional maturity becomes a reflection of his inner growth. Love becomes his path to balance between strength and softness, reason and emotion, action and stillness. Through this, he becomes not just a lover, but a guide, a partner, and a safe space. A man who feels authentic love doesn't just say, "I love you." He shows it in his silence, in his patience, in the way he stays present when life becomes uncertain. His love doesn't fade with time because it's not built on illusion. It's rooted in soul. He walks beside her not to lead or to follow, but to journey together through the unfolding of life. His devotion becomes timeless, a quiet, enduring promise to keep choosing her every day, not out of obligation, but because his heart can't imagine a truth more real than this. When a man feels authentic love, his entire being transforms into something higher, gentler, and deeper. It's not the kind of love that burns quickly and dies out. It's the kind that refines him over time. Through it, he learns that love isn't conquest or excitement. It's a sacred mirror revealing who he truly is. He grows, he confronts himself, and he evolves beyond ego. Love teaches him truth, patience, and balance. It softens his pride but strengthens his soul. He learns that true strength isn't about being unshaken, but about staying open when everything in him wants to close. In this depth, he finds peace. He no longer seeks admiration for control. He finds fulfillment in understanding and nurturing. The woman he loves becomes his reflection and his teacher, showing him how to love without possession, how to care through presence, and how to find power in compassion. Through her, he learns stillness. Through her, he discovers that love's greatest form is the kind that frees, not binds. He realizes that love doesn't demand perfection. It invites two imperfect souls to grow together, hand in hand, learning, forgiving, and evolving. Authentic love becomes his awakening. It gives meaning to his silence, turns fear into wisdom, and transforms passion into purpose. It humbles him, yet elevates his spirit. He sees that love isn't an escape from reality. It's the truest way to embrace it. In the end, he understands that love isn't about finding someone to complete him, but recognizing a divine reflection that guides him toward completeness within himself. When a man feels authentic love, he doesn't just experience emotion, he experiences evolution. It's the sacred meeting of two souls who remind each other who they were always meant to be. And in that recognition, he learns that love isn't only what connects two hearts, it's what awakens the soul to its highest truth.